Pop culture usually presents Thermopylae as a story of 300 muscle-bound Spartans fighting a doomed suicide mission against a horde of monsters. Historical records describe a different scenario. The Spartans never fought alone, and their military objective was never to win the battle. The events of 480 BC were, in reality, a calculated, brutal transaction. The Greek alliance intentionally traded their own soldiers to purchase a strategic commodity that was rapidly running out: time. To understand this clash, we have to analyze the cold, strategic math of a civilization trying to prevent its own erasure. The threat was staggering. The Persian Empire, led by King Xerxes, mobilized a multinational war machine. Modern historians estimate this force contained between 150,000 and 300,000 soldiers. Facing this invasion was a fractured collection of rival city-states struggling to hold together a fragile, last-minute military alliance. Survival depended on a drastic plan: evacuate the entire population of Athens and simultaneously organize a massive naval defense. Moving a population and assembling a fleet requires weeks, but Xerxes and his army were only days away from the Greek heartland. Defeating an invading force of that size in open combat was statistically impossible. The only viable military option was to find a way to severely delay their advance. The Greek commanders found their solution at Thermopylae, or the Hot Gates. This coastal corridor was wedged between sheer mountain cliffs and the sea. In some spots, the path was only 15 meters wide. This terrain neutralized the Persian numerical advantage. When hundreds of thousands of soldiers are funneled into a gap that small, only a few dozen men can physically engage the enemy at once. To plug this gap, the alliance sent a coalition force of roughly 7,000 Greek soldiers, commanded by the Spartan king Leonidas. These troops used the hoplite phalanx, a combat formation where soldiers packed together to create an interlocking wall of heavy bronze shields and spears. Placing this impenetrable wall inside a microscopic geographic corridor created a force multiplier designed to squeeze every possible hour out of the advancing Persian army. For 2 full days, the Greek strategy held. Wave after wave of lightly armored Persian infantry crashed into the Greek phalanx, taking devastating casualties, while the defensive line remained intact. Xerxes eventually deployed his elite guard, the Immortals, expecting his best soldiers to finally shatter the Greek resistance. The Immortals failed. Their shorter spears couldn't penetrate the heavy reach of the lethal bronze weaponry wielded by the Greeks. Every hour of delay gave the Allied navy more time to organize a trap for the Persian fleet at Artemisium and Salamis. The strategy collapsed when a local shepherd named Ephialtes revealed a secret mountain goat path to the Persians. Under the cover of darkness, Persian forces used the Anapeia path to bypass the bottleneck and encircle the Greeks from behind. With their geographic advantage gone, the delaying tactic evaporated. The clock for the Greek commanders had hit 0. King Leonidas faced a harsh tactical choice. If he ordered a full retreat, his heavy infantry would be exposed on the open plains, where Persian cavalry would easily run them down. If he kept his entire force at the pass, the alliance would lose thousands of seasoned troops they needed for the rest of the war. He chose a strategic compromise. He ordered the majority of the Allied army to fall back to safety, while a small, disciplined rearguard stayed to hold the line. This rearguard consisted of his 300 Spartans, specifically chosen because they already had sons to carry on their names, alongside about 700 volunteers from the city of Thespia. Leonidas spent the lives of 1,000 men to keep the back door open just long enough for his main army to escape. In those final hours, the rearguard fought until their ashwood spears shattered. They drew their swords, and when those broke, they fought with their hands and their teeth. Every man in the rearguard was killed. Thermopylae fell. Xerxes marched into central Greece and burned the evacuated city of Athens. Tactically, the Greeks lost the battle. However, the strategic payoff was significant. The 3 days bought by the rearguard allowed the Greek fleet to lure the Persian navy into a deadly bottleneck of their own, destroying them at the Battle of Salamis. Without their fleet, the Persians couldn't supply their massive army. The land invasion eventually collapsed, leading to a permanent defeat the next year at Plataea. Leonidas's monument stands over the site of a high-stakes resource trade. By spending 3 days at the pass, his vanguard secured the time the Greek alliance needed to avoid collapse.